The best, "you have no power here" moment I've ever seen. Growing up, I experienced the worst of my mother's dissociative disorder and narcissism. She was addicted to opiates, and her highs would often turn into violent tantrums, leaving me broken and battered. I remember the sound of shattering glass, the feeling of her hands around my throat, and the smell of smoke from the burning cigarettes she'd leave scattered around the house. She'd sabotage my relationships with my father and siblings, pitting us against each other and then playing the victim. Her addiction would destroy our home, leaving it in shambles. I'd come home from school to find the house spotless, only to return a few hours later to find it looking like a tornado had passed through. Broken glass, animal feces, dirty clothes, and empty pill bottles littered the floor. The air was thick with the smell of rot and decay. But the worst part was the emotional manipulation. She'd blame me for everything, never taking responsibility for her actions. I was constantly walking on eggshells, never knowing when she'd snap. She'd tell me I was worthless, that I'd never amount to anything, and that I was lucky to have her as a mother. I believed her, and it nearly destroyed me. One summer, when I was 16, my aunt reached out and offered me a chance to escape. She invited me to stay with her in Texas for a few weeks, and I jumped at the opportunity. I didn't bother asking my parents. I knew they wouldn't even notice I was gone. When my aunt arrived, our house was a disaster. But I didn't react. I just packed my bags and left. My aunt was deeply unsettled by my numbness and asked if I was safe. I said yes, but she saw the truth. She saw the emptiness in my eyes, the hopelessness in my voice. In Texas, I experienced love, compassion, and care for the first time. My aunt and her family showed me that life didn't have to be a constant struggle. They fed me, clothed me, and listened to me. They made me feel seen and heard. But I knew I couldn't stay in Texas forever. I had to face my parents and take control of my life. So, we decided to get me emancipated. The court hearing was intense. My parents' lawyer tried to break me down, but I held my ground. When it was my turn to speak, I looked at my parents and said, "You have no power over me anymore." My mother squirmed in her seat, trying to interrupt me, but I continued. "You've abused me, manipulated me, and nearly destroyed me. But I'm taking back control. I'm taking my life back." The judge saw the truth and granted me emancipation. As I left the courtroom, I felt a weight lift off my shoulders. I was finally free. It's been 7 years since then, and I've grown into a well-adjusted adult. I have a great career, friends, and a girlfriend who loves me for who I am. Therapy has helped me overcome my past, and I'm grateful for that day in court when I finally found my voice. I still think about my parents sometimes, wondering what could have been if they'd chosen to love me instead of their addiction. But I know I'm better off without them. I'm living proof that you can overcome even the darkest of pasts and find happiness. And for that, I'm eternally grateful.